Let's go, baby. 8-2. We got the W. What else can they say now? 10 of the last 11 games, we took care of business against the Baltimore Ravens. Well, it was a fluke. There's always an asterisk. Lamar's not playing. They're missing players. Well, we wasn't 100% either, and we still took care of business. But as always, it's all respect between Baltimore and Pittsburgh. It's the best rivalry in the NFL. It's the hardest hitting rivalry in the NFL. In fact, Steelers fans and Ravens fans need to ice up at the conclusion of the game. And all we were doing was watching. But one way or another, we took care of business and got ourselves the W. Kudos to the Baltimore Ravens, of course, making it go down to the wire. You can't watch a Steelers game without it being a heart attack, and let alone you can't watch an AFC North battle without needing a hard hat. And this was truly the epitome of this rivalry. Granted, offensively in the red zone, we were piss poor again. But Boswell, 6 field goals, never had to see the end zone. Just like what transpired in week 1, we still were able to hold on and get the job done. We got to figure it out on third down. Today was terrible. But we got what we needed to win this game. Because granted, on paper, Baltimore's secondary, or if I should say their pass defense as a whole, was the worst in the NFL. But none of that matters when it's AFC North football. It really don't matter what it looked like on the stat sheet, on the goddamn call sheet, on the scouting report coming into the game. Because once the first snap happens, a kickoff happens, and that that damn time begins on the damn clock, you're in for a war, and that's exactly what transpired. We got a little bit of help, though, because Baltimore took a ton of shots in the damn foot from their own gun. They had 12 penalties. They killed momentum numerous different times on their own mistakes. Now, granted, we took advantage. We took the football away, I believe, 3 times. We only turned it over 1 time, but one way or another, we killed them on the time of possession. I believe we had about 36, 37 some minutes. We kept Lamar Jackson on the sideline. And when he was on the field, he was not as effective. We did not sack him as much as I thought we probably would, but we provided enough pressure to where he was constantly having his head on a swivel, unable to make his reads. I don't believe he hit another wide receiver. I think he hit 1 wide receiver in the first quarter in Zay Flowers, then Bateman in the second quarter. Maybe you could flip it one way or another. He didn't hit another receiver up until the fourth quarter, fam. We were playing sensational defense. That 1 touchdown drive that they had came off of a bonehead play from us, creating momentum for them. So for all intents and purposes, we played a very good game. And furthermore, this has to be stated, Justin Tucker is having the kind of season that we never seen him have before. Legitimately, every time he lines up to go kick a field goal from 2012 up until 2023, it was damn near a guarantee to be a make. But this year, he's second guessing himself, and it's looking like what happened with Boswell, who's our efficient kicker in 2018. So one way or another, that's Baltimore's problems. They got to go and get figured out. But we took care of business today. On the ground, over 100 total yards again. Did not need an individual 100-yard rusher to get the job done, but it was enough to move the chains and keep the 2-time MVP, reigning MVP in Lamar Jackson on the sideline. Then, furthermore, George Pickens seemed like he was the only wide receiver, if not the only wide receiver on the field for the Pittsburgh Steelers today. And guess what? Still made play after play after play. And that's why we need to make sure we pay that man. But we'll cross that bridge when we have to. As for big Mr. Washington, sir, I'm going to need you to make a play on the football in the end zone. Russell Wilson threw that terrible interception. But if this man uses his 6'7" frame, boxes out, and actually tries to make a play on the football, it probably results in an incompletion. Then, or maybe a spectacular catch, we'll get an additional field goal. Now, granted, butterfly effect or Mandela effect or whatever you want to call it doesn't mean as if, well, we kicked the field goal, make it a 2-possession game because we ended up getting the interception from Wilson. One way or another, we still were able to take care of business defensively. Defensively, this has to be stated. This was our best game of the season. It did not look incredibly sexy for all intents and purposes when it comes to sacking the quarterback, but we had ourselves 3 takeaways. King Henry running through everybody, not against us. Outside of that 1 drive, what did Derrick Henry do all day? Nothing. Lamar Jackson, interceptions, taking care of business, taking the doggone football out of his hands. And lastly, man, what an amazing coached game by Mike Tomlin. Listen, people always sit around there. People, they'll echo what Terry Bradshaw said years ago. Man's being on the sideline, being a cheerleader. You got to give this man his credit. Special teams did a hell of a job. Defense did a hell of a job. Offense did a hell of a job. And I'm so happy that we had a couple of plays in which we brought Justin Fields in there and ultimately sealed the game with his presence on the field. We need to run offensive packages with Justin Fields out there because it creates a brand new element to the offense and furthermore forces that defense to have to make a whole lot of decisions because somebody gonna have to stay at home just in case Justin Fields keeps the football. Now, granted, you slid too early. We had the game in the bag. You slid too early, but luckily the very next play, they were anticipating you probably keeping it again, give it a nudge. We get 1 yard, that seals it up, and we get the W. All in all, on this second half of the season, back half from hell, we're 2-0. Commanders 7-2. You lost. Baltimore 7-2. Or 7-3, you lost. So whether it's the Browns, who are still a divisional opponent, I don't care what their record says, they're an AFC North opponent. It's going to be a battle. The Bengals, they may have a losing record right now, still an AFC North opponent, and we have not really had a lot of success against Joe Burrow. As far as I'm concerned, that too, another war. Every single game moving forward, and then of course the Chiefs, Baltimore again, and Philadelphia. Every single game is a playoff game from this point moving forward. So let's continue to play this brand of football. Granted, maybe cut down on the heart attacks. Can we just go out there and outright win a game to where people can't sit over here and have excuses? But one way or another, thoroughly enjoying what I'm seeing from our Pittsburgh Steelers. And now, guess what? 8-2, our best start since 2020. And we could go further with this team than we could then. I'd like to see more splash plays from the defense, but that's neither here nor there. I'll take the W. Everybody get your hands up in here. Steelers on 3, win on 6. 1, 2, 3, Steelers. 4, 5, 6, win. Now, if you would excuse me, I'm going to go enjoy my final day out in the Dominican Republic, maybe even smoke a cigar, roll up that Baltimore Ravens pack as we advance to 8-2. Oh, and sole possession of first place in the AFC North. What they gonna say now? Let's go, Steelers.